Here are a couple of Reaper setup tips that should be helpful. You may get a window like this when you first get into it that doesn't show the mixer. If so, you can always go to View in the top row and then go down to Mixer, and it'll show you the key command for it. So on a Mac, it's Command M, but you can click on that and that will show the mixer here, and you can just quickly toggle back and forth with the key command. I'll leave that on. Another thing before you get started is to set it up to autosave. So I've actually saved this document. I'm just calling it Reaper Setup, and I created a folder on my desktop and have saved this in there. So the one thing for autosave to work is that you actually do need to save your initial file. So when you get into Reaper, make sure that before you do anything, you create a project folder and that you save this blank file at the moment into it. So once you do, you can go to Preferences. So if you're on a PC, the way to get there is Options, and you go down to the bottom. And a Mac, it's here as well. So you go to Preferences, and then go to Project here. And then you'll need to enable the autosave function. So I'm going to put this as a timestamp backup, and I'm going to bump this down to 5 minutes. And then you want to leave this when not recording, because otherwise you'll get potentially get dropouts if you are recording. So it'll wait for you to stop, and then it'll save it, and then save to timestamped file in the project directory. And then you want to hit Apply, OK, and then we should get some autosaves, and you can be thankful in the future in case something goes sideways. The other thing is for setup, if you add a track and you don't see the trim function here, actually your window may look different. So let me show you how to set that up. Again, if you go to Options and go to Themes and Theme Adjuster, you'll probably get this window first. And you can scroll through the different pages here with the arrows. So from global settings, if you arrow to the right, it'll take you to the track control panel. And I actually have layout B selected. Whichever one you have selected is the default will be lit up in green. So you can actually go and change layout A, but if it's not lit up here, you're not going to see anything happening. I think A is probably the default. B is a little more, it doesn't hide as many things. I kind of like to see more knobs and stuff over here. So I'll show you how to switch it over to B here in a second. But for the envelope to disappear or be shown, this is where you select. And if you look up here in the track window, notice what happens as I deselect hide. Suddenly you'll see now the trim has shown up. So again, that is the envelope. So I'm going to deselect that so I can see my trim and close this pane. And let me show you how to switch between the themes. So again, under Options, switch between the layouts. If you go down here, you can change the way any of these panels or windows look, what's being shown. So this over here is the track panel. So we go to Options again. Scroll down to Layouts. And then Track Panel, you can see that I have B selected. So if I select A here, this may be what you see. And it's really Spartan. Everything is hidden. Not a fan of that. So again, to change that, you just go down to Layouts, Track Panel, and I'm going to pick B here. Okay, so that is another key tip for setting up your initial Reaper sessions. And then here's one last one, and this one is a fun one. Under Recording, down here, when you record anything new, it will name your files usually with the track number. So this would be track number 1, and as they go down here, 1, 2, 3, 4, in order. And then you'll see these long numbers, and what it is the year and the date and the month, and then it's the hour and minute in military time. So it'll like 2:45 would be 14:45. And it does the year and the month and day in reverse order. So if you look at it initially, it just looks like a random number. But the reason for this is that it will archive your files sequentially, a little bit cleaner. But the cool move that I just recently learned is under wildcards. If you go to project information and scroll down to trackslashes, select that, and you'll get this. It'll say $trackslashes in the front here, and then you hit apply and then OK. And I've already done that. So what happens is in your track name, you just double click in the track name window, and let's say I was recording like a guitar solo. You could put it in all of the audio files into a folder that will magically get created in your project folder, and it'll keep things really organized. This is great for sound design, for example. If you ever have to go and search for random sounds in the future, like Foley sounds, you can do a search for Foley, and then it'll pull up all of your Foley folders in your projects. Just an example. But what you do is you say, like, I would put this in my guitar folder, and I put a slash, and then everything after it will be saved in the file name, and then it will create this folder, name that. So I would say Matt, and then solo, and then I'm going to call it like SM57. Say this is the type of mic that I'd be using, and hit return. And then if I were to arm this track and record, I need to switch over here because I'm just using my headphone mic really quick. Put this to built-in microphone. I'm going to record really quick. So let's say I was recording this track here, and then I hit spacebar. It'll name it, so Matt Solo SM57, and then here you can see the date and the time, 10:34 a.m. And then you can just hit spacebar, so you don't actually need to click Save All, and it'll save it. So now I'm just going to do a search on my desktop in my project folder. So let's see. This is my Reaper setup project, and it created a subfolder. I didn't have to do that. So this is a way to keep your projects really organized. And again, here is Matt Solo. This is the file name.